A warm welcome to today's industry recap, and as you can see from the title, many airlines are plotting aircraft expansions and as a result are definitely going to be looking to place new orders in the future, whether in the form of the leasing market or directly from the source. That is a big focus of today's proceedings. And lastly, RwandAir are set to expand their international network. Let me begin with Air Cairo, and honestly, maybe a welcome to the channel. One I've not really taken a look at, but one that plays a massive role in and out of Egypt, and they're plotting a pretty hefty expansion to their overall flying as they try and secure more aircraft to aid the business. While the Egyptian airline operates under a low-cost model, it has been heavily relying on the Airbus A320neos to power efficiency, and it is approaching now the end of the line for fresh deliveries. So it has to start thinking, what comes after this point? And the thing is, if the airline wants to continue growing, the company must begin preparing to add more aircraft that may not be brand new to its fleet. These plans are now being implemented, with Air Cairo set to take on more A320 family jets. However, with the current engine option, these the previous generation instead of the Neos. According to the airline's CEO, the plan is to take 6 units on for the A320ceo. While these are not next generation, they have been specifically picked to still reduce the fleet's overall age while allowing capacity to be boosted simply by increasing the amount of aircraft that are available to them. Current fleet data indicates the airline has 27 A320s in total, one of which is listed as parked. The company recently welcomed its 16th A320neo, the youngest fleet type measured by average age. Away from a commitment to the next generation, Air Cairo also has 10 A320-200s active in its fleet. It's some 14.6 years of age. In the meantime, as the airline looks to continue growing, bringing down that fleet age, now something I've spoken about on several occasions, and generally cementing a role for itself within the industry is a huge key focus, and taking on second-hand jets does present itself with a very interesting option looking into the future. While these plans are part of a more short-term focus, it must be said, Air Cairo's long-term plans are far more ambitious. A great deal of work is currently being done to expand services on an international sense. The airline has relied on the A320 series for some time, it must be said. However, looking deeper into the future, the CEO does highlight an appetite to invest more in the family of aircraft, that is the A320 family, and consider maybe a higher capacity alternative. That high capacity alternative would have to be the A321neo, which has proved itself to be an incredibly successful aircraft in recent years. But possible options exist away from just the base model, with the newly launched A321XLR being a huge hit. And if the A321neo was to be selected, it would drive capacity upwards across key markets, while presenting further opportunities across the network to reach markets in the form of, say, the XLR, which can fly up to 7 to 8 hours. On to another airline that will be expanding its fleet and will therefore be trying to seek new aircraft. It is in the form of RwandAir. This is an airline now joining a long list right around the world that want to focus on growing their operations in the next few years, and specifically their time frame centers around 5 years. The airline making its ambition pretty clear, and that is to double the fleet with a view of increasing levels of demand needing to be met. RwandAir only has a fleet of 12 active aircraft now. It is very modest, but when you consider its geographical positioning, this has been so far deemed adequate. And while it averages some 11.7 years of age and we see many different aircraft types, I think we're reaching a point now where the airline believes there is more room for growth, and this may no longer be deemed as the, say, best possible composition. The airline's CEO spoke exclusively with The National, revealing that there is great potential in and around the region that they call home to grow. So much potential does exist around Africa. Why? Well, because of the lack of service between key markets, and RwandAir hopes that through continued growth as an airline, it can be that all-important answer moving forward. However, to facilitate this dream, RwandAir must commit to new aircraft and begin securing valuable deliveries temporary slots, which are becoming harder and harder to obtain. Now, alternatively, it can also head to the leasing market, which may very well be the perfect option for it. This is also a market that is massively heating up as more and more airlines realize they can't get the aircraft they need from the manufacturers directly in time. As for the next 5 years, well, RwandAir hopes to have a fleet of more than 25 units. This would represent more than double of what is currently operational. Fleet growth has really been emphasized. They believe this the only way to increase connectivity to and from African markets. With such a large population, but also therefore a small overall percentage of your global air traffic, this is a company that knows more planes will help aid it grow and make all of this possible. Furthermore, I think it's pretty important to also mention that with investment from Qatar Airways and the continued development of key infrastructure, it'll make flying safer but also more accessible. An international network such as markets within the Middle East and towards Europe is always going to be essential for connecting Rwanda and more, while also boosting economic ties, but that won't be the primary focus in the coming years. Instead, RwandAir wants to focus more closer to home and open up connectivity between vital African markets. It believes that by doing this, it will then allow for onward connectivity to more international destinations. It'll be fascinating to see how this growth unfolds, and I'll be keeping a close eye. As for Korean Air, they're the last story in today's recap, announcing that they will be expanding their service across Asia, focusing in on China and Japan. Part of this expansion that I focus in on will see the resumption of routes and upgauging of frequency to several popular destinations as demand has recently increased. To begin with, Korean is resuming service on October 22 from Seoul Incheon to Mudonjeon. I've probably pronounced that incorrectly. I do apologize there. We'll see 5 weekly flights operated. Next, from December 1, daily service will resume from Busan to Qingdao, with Korean Air offering daily service after what can only be described as now a lengthy hiatus. This was caused by the global pandemic. China is a very critical market for Korean Air. The airline says that by the end of December 2024, its China capacity will reach 95% of the pre-pandemic capacity that it did have. There will be other service increases, such as to Shemen from October 4, with now 4 flights per week. Away from China, flying to Japan is going to be the real standout market to recover, with the airline saying that it expects to see 106% of pre-pandemic recovery, thus representing a full rebound and now growth on top of that. On October 27, Korean Air will relaunch flying between Seoul and Nagasaki for the busy winter season, and fun fact, this ends a route break of more than 11 years. Seoul to Osaka is experiencing a currently 2-month temporary increase, while there'll also be some other changes. That is going to conclude today's aviation industry recap. Thank you very much for your support here on the channel. Take care, be safe, and I'll see you same place, same time tomorrow. And we'll fly.